We're joined today by Matt Gauci, Managing Director of ASX-listed Nicolex. Matt, thanks for your time.
Yeah, good to be with you, Dave.
You've recently received shareholder approval for a pretty interesting transaction with MG Resources PTY Limited over a new asset that you're bringing into the company. Can you tell us about the transaction and why this asset was so compelling?
Yeah, so Nicolex has been building a nickel prospectivity model across the southeast Yilgarn and the southwest Yilgarn, which obviously hosts a number of really exciting opportunities like Julimar. So the southeast Yilgarn, being predominantly Eastern Goldfields, highlighted a number of areas that we're really keen to be involved in, either through dealing or peeing. And then this asset popped up as one which we felt was worthwhile having a crack at, I guess you could say. And so clearly being right in the middle of the action at the moment, which we know is IGO takeover of Western Areas at Cosmos, BHP ramping up production at Leinster. We're right in the middle of a very exciting nickel producing district.
Like you say, a great location. Where exactly is it located and why is it so appealing from an infrastructure and a location setting?
Yeah, so we're 10 k's south of Cosmos, 20 k's north of Leinster. Really well serviced nickel district. I've worked at Leinster historically. While it's effectively in the middle of nowhere, it's definitely well serviced from the perspective of logistics, drilling, and drillers offsiders. Really easy to get in that area, and clearly ultramafics running right through our tenements from Cosmos down through our tenements to Leinster, and yeah, Komatiite's quite visible. So yeah, we're really comfortable that we have the right geology, the right logistics, the right area to start with. And then, yeah, obviously some very strong EM anomalies, which we can talk about later.
Now, in terms of the project suite itself, what work's been done and what comfort does it give you as to what work you can do to enhance the project?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, New Exco did a fair bit of work for the previous owners in terms of EM, being moving loop EM, fixed loop EM, identifying some of the strongest conductors we've personally seen throughout the whole southeast Yilgarn. And so they're up to 12,000 Siemens, 15,000 Siemens. They're extremely strong, very large conductors that go from surface to about 800 metres. So it's extraordinarily underexplored prospect. So that led us to combine the EM data with clearly the MAG data, which we need to update, and then understanding of the geological structures, which are seemingly unbelievable. So we're really excited about it.
So for those who don't know about EM conductors and the prospectivity that they generate, what is an EM conductor and what do these results mean?
So an EM conductor effectively highlights the sulfide or potential sulfide conductivity in an anomaly. And so what you will find is that if you've got reasonably low EM conductors, 5,000-6,000 Siemens, then the sulfides potentially, and clearly we're all explorers, so the diamond drill tells the real story. We don't know what they are until you drill them. But if you've got conductors that are at that strength, there's a very, very high likelihood that you're going to get sulfides. And then sulfides clearly lead to good grades of nickel. And in this particular instance, Komatiite type nickel, similar to Leinster and Cosmos. And it's not too long ago that, I remember having beers, and you probably had beers, Dave, with Kerry Hermanis after he sold Cosmos to Xstrata for $3 billion. We're the next cab off the rank is what we believe from a technical perspective. So it's a very, systematic exploration process we're running on here for a number of reasons. One, way it looks. Two, location. and then 3, obviously nickel market is just going gangbusters.
Talking about exploration program, what's the plan from here? When do you formally acquire the project, and then what's the plan from an exploration point of view?
Yeah, sure. So we had shareholder approval yesterday, so that's all good. That was 100% approval from the shareholders, so that's good. So we'll complete the acquisition over the next 4 or 5 days in terms of the final agreement. We've already booked a MAG survey to run over the tenements, just to define and refine the ultramafics that are running through the tenements. The previous surveys from a MAG perspective were pretty wide space, so we want to close that up a bit, and that'll help integrate with our known EM data that we've got. We'll put in an application to the Australian government for a 4-hole diamond drilling program. So that will all happen the next couple of months.
And you say, as you say, shareholders have overwhelmingly supported the transaction. Is that, what's the rationale for their support? Is it, this is the right area, the right rocks, the right neighbours, the right commodity? Is that what was the overwhelming message back from shareholders?
Yeah, look, definitely. I think it was obviously outranks our initial project being Birrinut. A lot higher tenure in EM and MAG data. Clearly the right location, everything you basically said. So there was no dramas in getting that done. I think it was 100% votes from shareholders. So, and then that leaves us with a quandary, if you like, with what to do with Birrinut, which we know adjoins Tropicana, one of West Australia's greatest gold discoveries, and where we go with that particular opportunity. And we can certainly bring that into the fold as a company in terms of exploring the gold. We'll park the nickel opportunities there, which Cosmos South clearly outranks what we've got down at Birrinut for nickel, but the gold opportunity is just extraordinary, and so we're working through what we do with that project.
And in terms of funding, have you got the funding to do what you need to do on this project?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're still sitting at 4 and a bit mil. So the project, initial project, will be MAG surveys, 4 diamond holes. So that's going to be circa $1 million. So yeah, we're fine funding wise, and definitely got a lot of interest from our neighbours, to be honest with you, IGO and BHP, in terms of seeing what we're doing.
And it's important for you to see what they're doing and vice versa, to give you a regional understanding and them a regional understanding of this belt.
Yeah, look, I obviously IGO are the smartest guys in the room for nickel, and we're seeing what they're going to do at Odysseus and Cosmos. Obviously, they've taken the front foot forward and had a crack at Western Areas, which are probably the right move, and Western Areas moved out of Forrestania. So yeah, definitely, as always, any explorer watch what IGO do. BHP, obviously, a little bit secretive and so forth, but yeah, they're just pumping out nickel as fast as they can. IGO obviously made an agreement with one of Andrew Forrest's company to look at downstream. So all the infrastructure is in place in the Wiluna Greenstone Belt. It's the absolute epicenter of the nickel producing world at the moment.
How much demand was there for this land package before you were able to grab it?
Fair bit. We had to really work quite hard with the vendors to ensure that it came into our fold. The vendors are really keen to see it go into a new company, a float, if you like. And we only listed sort of 9 months ago. So there was a fair bit of demand, but yeah, at the end of the day, we've got an exceptional technical team with Tony Donaghy, who's a global expert in nickel. Ollie Cruiser is a global expert in gold and nickel. And then John O'Downs, who obviously is our chairman, has worked in nickel for 20 years or so, formerly with Anaconda. And so, yeah, there was a fair bit of competition, but we managed to nudge them out.
Now, I can't finish without talking about the nickel market. It's come into its own at the exact right time for Nickel-X and this project. What is your view on the nickel market, and what does it mean for Nickel-X and adding value to your project?
Yeah, totally unprecedented. No one's ever seen this before, ever, in the nickel market, and probably never seen it in any metal market. I think copper went through the same thing like 2008. LME shut down copper on the basis of a Sumitomo trader. And so what I've seen is there's three things at play here. The first is clearly supply demand, and that's our traditional market that we look at. There's a massive shortage. It's only about 70,000 tonnes of nickel on the LME. As inventories, demand, as BHP forecasts, is going to increase fivefold over the next up to 2030. So the supply-demand market fundamentals are where we're at, and that's where every explorer and miner is probably at. And then you've got these other two things which have jumped on top of the nickel market, one being the potential or the spectre of sanctions on Norilsk, which produces some 10% of the world's nickel. Importantly, about 23% of the world's nickel available to the EV market, which is probably a bit of a scare for some of the buyers. And then, of course, margin calls from Tianjin and most of the Chinese players, and that's an $8 billion check I've got to write, which the fire report's written, and LME's back on track. But I think we're back to about 44,000 bucks a tonne, and that's good. And I believe that's on basis of fundamentals, which is supply demand. So we always look at supply demand effectively. So at $44,000 a tonne, getting 1% nickel sulfides, that's more than potentially economic, taking into account all the moderating factors in your feasibility study. But yeah, we're looking for 1-2% nickel sulfide on today's prices.
A great new project being added to the portfolio, an exciting belt to be operating in with significant neighbours who are all achieving outstanding results, both from an exploration and a production point of view. The market rising and rising fast, supply demand likely to continue for some time. Nickel-X perfectly placed to take advantage of all of those factors with its new project and its acquisition. Fully funded, strong technical team, exciting times ahead for Nickel-X and its shareholders. Matt, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Good to be with you.